Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right. So, listen, this is the final part of everything. As you remember, all week here, we've been doing the alien interview, the book. We've been doing part one, part two, part three, and we discussed this book very, very thorough when it came down to everything. And it is interesting that we look at it. Um, I think that if you start thinking about it, once you get into it, you will then begin to see there were some lessons. And so tonight, I'm going to go over some of those lessons. I think things that we learn or could take that could make our mind twist a little bit. It can make us think about what did we read? What did the aliens say? How do we compare it to today's life? And what we can use it for, whether it's relationships or maybe a better understanding or absolutely the truth. And the truth is truth. We know that. We know the truth is truth. And I think a lot of people get confused with truth versus authority. I think a lot of people say, well, just because this person is in authority, whatever comes out of their mouth is truth. Even me being an influencer, I challenge the audience all the time. Your eyes are useless when your mind is blind, that you should also double check, triple check in the truth. But I'm going to give you the most honest approach that I have. I'm going to give you information that you can read. I'm going to give you information you can think, see, to awaken your curiosity to the possibility of what I say is true. And then you take it the rest of the way, because once you confirm it, not me, it makes it better for you to really get that very understanding as we do that. So tonight we're going to pull back the veil of those last 3 days of what we're watching. If you're here for the first time, I want to thank you. And then, of course, here are the 3 past videos. We're talking about part 1, part 2, part 3 is here on the channel. And we went through every single chapter of this book to discuss the possibility of those things. And so I think once you get to that, you understand that, then we are where we need to be, and you can take some of that information. So, all right, I'm going to go into that right now. Okay, I'm going to go into that right now and get right into it. So, if you remember, there were several things that Airl the alien, like I said, we're talking about this alien, we're talking about her. Now we're going to get into what should we have learned from this. And I got a few things as a discussion. So I hope some of you want to get into the chat with this. Maybe some of you may come up on the screen tonight if we want to do that, or if we really just feel like doing it. And of course, it'd be me clicking a button. However, it still doesn't demise where we're going. All right. So the first thing that stood out the most through this book that I think we should discuss as learning mechanisms or learning things that we should take to the next level will be when she talked about us, the nature of immortal spirit being, ISBs or ISBs. And the is very, very, very important knowledge to really look into, because a core concept introduced by the alien is that sentient beings, us, and we talked about this, but we're going to got him. He is pulverized. He's gone. I mean, maybe he's going to reincarnate. The next time he's going to become a fast rat or something, because being a gnat didn't work out for him. But he's going to come back. He probably come back as a race car driver next time, because need for speed, he just learned in this lesson of life. All right, so a core concept introduced by Airl is that sentient beings, including us humans, are immortal spirit beings. And as ISBs, described as an internal, all-powerful, all-knowing entity that is the source of creation or creator of illusions. And let's pause right there for a life lesson. What can we learn from this book? What do we learn from what she said? Even half truths are true, but I'm going with the 100% on this one. How does she learn or not? Or what do we know that we are all-powerful, all-knowing? Seeings. Now we think about God being omniscient, all-knowing, seeings, to believe, to the alpha, the whatever. I'm not a preacher, so I don't get the sermon right, but you get what I'm trying to say, that we are all knowing, but yet the system is designed that we don't know sugar, honey, iced tea. It don't want us to know anything at all. So what happens with that? If you think about that in more detail. All right, so let's keep going. Where she talks about that there are not physical universe entities exist in what we call a timeless state of is, and their existence is stemming from the decision to be. Unlike biological bodies that are born and die, a spirit is not born and cannot die. So we don't die. Kind of like that song Colors, the colors, iced tea or whatever. We multiply, we don't die or whatever. But think about what she's saying, that we're is be, not I am. And we're going to discuss that in detail in a few minutes here. But before I get to that, we're talking about, she says, is be. We are is bees. We are is. And I thought about that while ago on Forbidden Knowledge. And I kept trying to ask the question, and maybe you guys, it's a smaller audience here, and we can go into the thought process of is instead of I am. Because most people teach us I am. I am powerful. I am this. I even have a friend that walks around, I am this, I am. And I can't say that I see a lot of results in that. And I will say I've done it too. But when I start reading this Rosicrucian thing in this private drive that a lot of us have access to, and I'll talk about that tonight for just a couple more people. There's documents in here that says that I am is the wrong way for us to perceive and receive what we need to get. Now, the alien confirms is the word. Now, David Icke is known to tell you that he says, I am all there is, has been, and ever can be. But he uses I am, but he says, I am all there is. He says that's what we should say, and has been, and ever can be, which goes into what the alien says that is. And the way she goes with that, she says she demonstrates this to Matilda by causing her to have an out-of-body experience. Remember, we talked about that in the book, astral projecting or lucid dreaming, how we should do that more. Some people are doing it now, but do you really understand it? Or can you control it? But she, on her words, spoke to Matilda and brought her out of her body. Imagine the power in that, where you want someone to see. And you remember now, remember I told you some of these movies that stole this, right? A lot of movies have been made off of this. So if y'all remember the movie Powder, we talked about that. Remember the scene now that's coming to me that Powder touched that guy's arm? And remember at the end, the lady said, what did you do to him? And he said, I made him see. Y'all remember that? We need to go back and watch that movie, all of it. We need to do like a movie night out or something. I don't know how we can do it and watch it live or whatever, but if somebody can come up with the software, or I'm sure it's out there, we need to do it. But he said, I made him see. But he made him come out of his body to see what he was doing. And remember, the guy said, I can't hunt anymore. I can't do anything. I can't even look down a barrel of a rifle no more. He done something to me. That was really powerful, really powerful. All right, so let's continue. So where I'm going with this is, she said that our spirit beings cannot die, but yet we have the fear of death every day. It's there. It's in the biblical stuff. You need to get your life right before Christ, or you need to do this. You got to live like this, or when you die, you don't go. Now, the problem with this is Jordan Maxwell talks about this too, and it gives us a thought to really think about. So I want y'all to think about it, because this is where my mind went. If even in our religious church that I grew up in, it's saying that when you die, you either go to two places, and they tell you your soul, you're going to go to hell or heaven. But they still use it in the context that you die. But yet, they also in the same context say you're going to heaven or hell, and you're still going to feel pain in hell. So, are they insinuating that the soul doesn't die anyway? Although we're in a spirit body, we may not feel the pain. But you get what I'm saying? Were they kind of camouflage in the fact that you never die anyway, that your soul is going to be somewhere else? And it gives you something to think about it when it comes for that, right? So it goes back for us to really think about. And remember, this alien is higher knowledge. This alien is coming from a place of thousands and thousands of years of evolution, thousands of years of knowledge in wars and in defeat and understand, and then was there when we were created. When the person said, let that be a chair or a human. So when they got a better understanding of the sophisticated creature, she said, well, they don't know nothing. In fact, they're it's being hidden from them. So let me continue down this rabbit hole that we're talking about. And we can do it. She said, Roderick, most platforms has watch party features. Like what? All right, so I know you retired, my friend. So can you, and I know you miss work, so can you research that for us? And then we can do a watch party. Yeah, we can do it. Well, you know what? We can do it through like a live stream, right? Yeah, I can do it on our Patreon because I can load a video and we can watch it and talk about it. We might can do that. I'll look into it. All right. So anyway, let me continue because this is the part of the deep part. We got a lot tonight, but we're going to go into lessons in life and hidden messages that we thought about. And I got a friend right now, don't know I'm live streaming, but I am. And he's calling. He's on. Y'all can hear him if he says something. Yeah, you're laughing. And he's usually asleep at this time. I have no clue. Maybe it's an emergency. I'm sorry. Is it an emergency?
No, I just want to call in and make sure you're doing what you're doing.
Well, hell, if you go to YouTube, you will know. Swimming ducks, Navy SEALs. You don't need to, but either way, watch me, brother. I'm on.
I will holler at you later then. Get it
All right.
done.
All right. Y'all heard him, though. Y'all go watch Lemmy's. What's the name of your channel you want them to go watch?
Lim's Crazy Random Facts.
Yeah, go watch Lim's Crazy, and y'all know what I deal with on a daily basis talking to this guy. So, all right.
All right, do good work.
Yeah. You talking about crazy facts. Y'all go check him out. Lim's Crazy Facts. All right. So listen, what I'm saying is that she also mentioned that there are not physical, or let me back up for a minute. She said that we are all powerful, all knowing entities, and we're the source of creation of illusions. Now, she also said there are not physical universe entities exist in the time of is. There are in the decision to be. So in other words, you're is, and then you made the decision to be that. Or I made the decision to be that, which is Roderick Martin. And it's something that I've said before, that I know I'm infinite conscious awareness, that I'm living the experience of Roderick Martin, this YouTuber, and I've already decided to make a change of that experience. I'm working on it right in plain sight. So maybe me learning this elevation of things and begin to connect the dots has allowed me to manifest that, or to begin to put that in the creative illusion of the mind, because it's all in my mind, right? And then you become that. But she's saying that there's somewhere along the way we have been blocked from that thought. We have been blocked from that power. We have been blocked with amnesia so that we don't know who we are and our true powers. And therefore, we're living a life that we are have put together within our minds. We see ourselves living the way we're living. Now, I'm not telling you that I do not wish to say that I'm not happy to be here with you. But if I had the lifestyle to be on the beach on an island with, my 1,000 concubines or whatever, because you can't. I mean, whatever. You can have multiple women. I don't know. Of course, that ain't what I want. I'm just talking, so don't y'all take that literally. But you get what I'm saying. You would probably be somewhere else and envision something else, almost like Aladdin and his genie. You rub the body. What wish you want? Boom. You get what I'm saying? And or whatever. And it's kind of funny. Contraband? No, concubines is what I meant to say. I know I said contraband. That's why I messed up. I knew right then when it came out of I couldn't even catch it. Contraband is drugs. I know. And I meant women, concubines. I know I said it wrong. But I tell you what, though, if you understood what I was trying to say, even if I said it wrong, but you understood what I was trying to say, you got me. You're good to go. So let's go with that one. I just learned it. Someone else told me the other day. All right, so let's go with this and continue, because it's going to get deep, and it's worth us noting. Airl demonstrates the Matilda by causing the out-of-body experience, which Matilda perceived herself outside the physical body. Looking down from the ceiling, this experience revealed that Matilda, the shocking reality that I am not a body. So you there you go. The alien proved to her by taking her out of her body to then then say that I am not, you're not in your body. All right, and you know what I'm saying? She said that the I am is not there. All right, so she's saying that, how we say, I am this, I am powerful, I'm walking around, we got this on the board, I am rich, I am this. I don't know how to say I is, or if that's the case, but what she did say is, for as the physical body, that we should look at it totally different and not the way that we've already been perceiving it, to the way we've been doing it. So that right there tells you enough. And what do we learn from that? But we are spiritual beings, I think, is the thought that we need to learn. I think the lesson for her teaching that I am not a body, we got to think above a body, probably takes the pressure off of life. If we really could harness the thought, because it's going to be difficult, because all our lives we've been thinking one way. But if we could master as quickly as possible to think I am not this body, I have no clue of where that takes us, but it does make a lot of sense that there could be some higher learning and knowledge and way that we can do things. You get what I'm saying? There's another way that we could harness that power. And once again, I am, we say that, but Dave Light says, I am all there is. He uses the is, has been, and ever can be. So it lines up to what she's saying. Now, she also saying that the essence of creation and existence cannot be found through physical measurement, but lies within oneself as an immortal spirit being. Let me repeat that lesson. So how do we contemplate on that? How do we think about what she said? She said the essence of creation and existence, meaning, cannot be found through physical measurements. Does that mean wealth, money, clothing, furniture, or whatever? I don't know. Maybe it's a little higher than that. I'm thinking too little there. But obviously, we got to think higher than that. She said that cannot be found through physical measurement. So somebody answer that in the chat. What do you think that she's talking about when she says that? And I'm gonna put it on this is us now. This is our community talking. So y'all put it in the chat. I'll put it on the screen, whatever. However, what do you think she meant by that? We cannot be found through. We cannot or cannot be found through physical measurements. In other words, the essence of creation and existence cannot be found through physical measurement, but lies within one's self. Rowboat says it's not physical world. It's like the world we are in. Judith says maybe we should be observers of life instead of living in our bodies. Okay. Oh, all right. We could do that. We can do that. Because on a personal note, I once told a person that there was a time that this was in my younger years, that I stopped dreaming, and I thought it was a bad thing, because it was so easy for me to go into the room and dream and pictureize things and take myself out of the elements of what I was really going through in reality, that if I could just stay there, it didn't matter. But when I came back, bills was due. The children needed fed. You had to go to work. Welcome to reality, right? But that maybe goes to where, things are going with metaverse and virtual stuff, where people is addictive. They go into this thing. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. Maybe that's what it is. Monica says inner work is needed. Storm says mental detachment through real world, like taking a mushroom trip. Okay, that's cool. It's spiritual and infinite like the universe. We are dimensional beings, Cashin says. So let it keep coming. Y'all, maybe we can answer that question together. Maybe we could weave in and we all begin to shape our realities at some point. And maybe we can do that. And maybe we can become better people at some point. But yeah, we're not our bodies. We are energy, is what they're saying. All right, so let me continue, because that was a shock to the system. Now, to conclude this part, then we'll move on to the prison planet and mechanism of control. But I thought this would be the first place to begin, because this immortal beings are who we are in being above the body. I'm wearing a shirt that's on my website, as above, so below. Maybe it's just should be as above. Maybe we should be focusing on above, like she said. Maybe we should, But she said ISBEs, which is immortal spirit beings, ISBs, which is us, create space by imagining a location and then perceive spaces and objects created by others. Whoa! See, when I read that, and we went through it a little bit yesterday, but I didn't go into, because I was saving this for today as a recap, and I almost alluded to it yesterday a little bit, but this blew me away because, and I'm going to read this statement again, and I want you to hear me as clearly as you can. And I want this to ponder a little bit, and then I'll move into the next part of this, because this was really interesting. She said that we create space, by imagining a location. Let's say we imagine it here, and then we could perceive spaces and objects created by other ISB, meaning you and I could be connected, or maybe the Bible says, equally yoked. I don't know, and it seems a little mundane there, but you get what I'm saying. But it's saying that you and I could be connected through your visions and my visions. Now, that'll be a powerful thing if you are able to get a group of people to shape the reality. But there's more, because I'm going to get to it. So before we go there, before I get to that, she says that we, again, can experience this through others. I thought that was pretty interesting, because where she was going with that is that they create energy, shape particles, cause motion in animate forms, which is called life. She gave a definition of what life is. Now, we tell people, our children, our friends, when they're having a bad day, that's life, because that's the only way we see it. That's the only way we've been taught. That's the only way we know what life has been, is because that's what was passed down to us. And maybe it's not the truth. Maybe we're supposed to see life like it's supposed to, and then you seeing it, and then we both come into an agreement and say, you know what, we're going to change this shit. We're going to let's be creative and imaginative, and we're going to change this thing we call life. Right? Instead of accepting that this thing is called life. Y'all get what I'm saying? It's a big difference between this is life versus we can change this life. Now, you can go back to Tony Robbins. I've said it before. You can go back to motivational speakers. You can go back to all the people that teach you can change your life. You could, you can do all these things, manifest your destiny or whatever. But maybe it's something deeper. Maybe it is something totally deeper than what we need to look at, and it's worth exploring. Because once again, let me get back to it. And she says that they can perceive spaces and objects by others. See, that's what really took me, and I'm still hooked on this right now, because it's not about you, and it's not all about me. It's about us working as one. And all of us coming together, and they said all the time, some of the higher minds that there said, we can create a better place if we all just think and work together. But then the whole system is designed for separation, arguments, everything is designed for us not to come together. The story of the Tower of Babel, all of that was designed for us not to come together. Polio Pratt says you're on fire tonight. Thank you. But you follow me, right? And I'm gonna put it over to the side. So I'm gonna grab this back down here. However, where I'm going with this again is we can create the energy, shape particles, cause motion, animate forms, which is called life. Meaning I created this and so did you, because we're both experiencing it together, and you're able to experience what I created and I'm able to experience what you created. Boy, that's a lesson for life and relationships too. Because if you got somebody out there you dating or married to or going with, whatever, and they're creating fucking havoc, that could transcend itself into you, because that creation is connected with the energy, the particles, the motion, cause and effect, whatever, animate forms, which is life. She says that the universe itself is seen as a collaborative creation of illusions by ISBs, and so all of this is just an illusion. Who have told us that on many occasions? What influencers have said that, and then we shun them and said they don't know what they're talking about. But in the movie, The Matrix, that was the whole theme, that this is an illusion. But you remember Cypher said, oh, I want to go back. I want to go back in that illusion. They're going to reprogram me. They're going to make me wealthy. They're going to make me whatever. I don't know. But I think that's deep, though. I really think it's deep how this is, it transpires itself. I really do. So as we look at more of this thought of what we're learning from this thing, she says that the universe itself, and I'm reading it again, as a collaborative creation of illusion by ISBs, but it's sustained. Oh, this is powerful here. It's sustained by mutual agreement that these things exist. Meaning, we have came to an agreement that life is hard. We have came to agreement that the way we see what's happening in our political fashion is the way it is. Me and Judith have conversations like that all the time when I talk to her during the day, or some of the others, and I'll be like, girl, you see this? What's going on here? And we both will come in agreement. Yeah, that's some bad stuff. Or should we think about it different? Should I call 10 other people and we all think about it differently, and we get a different perspective? And do it change? And it makes sense, because some people can have things happen to them, and some people don't even see it as treachery. They don't see it as whatever. And maybe we judge them because they don't see it that way, that they're wrong. Maybe it's just their reality. Maybe it's just what they exist. Maybe all the stuff that we see happening is what they created because that's what they wanted to create. We just are incorporated into it. How do we not be there to do it? How do we not get connected to it? Maybe there's ways that we don't. I don't know. That's all I'm saying. We can continue that. All right, so let me continue, because I got a lot more profound things that we should have learned or could learn from this book. Also, but let me back up. But she said that it's sustained by mutual agreement. Our soul ties or whatever is agreeing upon this. Now, the desire to avoid boredom is a common driver for ISBEs, leading them to diminish their abilities to play games involving unknown freedoms, barriers, and goals. Meaning, we don't play the game of evolving unknowns. Remember, there's a thing about pure potentiality. That is one of the lessons of life. One of the answers that we have to allow pure potentiality, meaning whatever happens, so to speak. When we go into a situation, we're open to the potentiality of things instead of trying to dictate. Now, most people teach us that the result that you want, you need to forcefully implement whatever you do to get that result, right? You want somebody, and we already know trauma-based stuff is what they do with that. They, especially in the control factors of the world, secret societies and S-slaves and all this stuff. But I'm saying in reality, we try to implement that in our own lives, that I want this to happen, so I'm going to do this, instead of allowing things to happen. Pure potentiality. She said we don't do that. She said that we diminish that ability, so we don't have the freedoms, the barriers, or we just don't. So the state of being a god, so the state of being a god is temporarily forgotten by pretending not to know everything, leading to self-entrapment. Think about what I just said. And there's a lot of teachings out there that there's a God in all of us, right? That we have this ability. And maybe that ability of that is not so much the God as the creator. And although you, just like God create life, you can create life, right? Free will, you can take away life. You are the controller of life, period. So, but for a deeper understanding, that if God created all of this for us, then we can create all of that for us within this, so to speak. But we are told that we can't, because that's life. You get what you see. You get the hand that you're dealt. You can't throw back in the cards. Play the hand you got. How many times have we been taught that? I've been in a home-based businesses meetings, and a person standing in front of the room, I thought just because he made a good money, he's saying, oh, you got to deal with the hand you got, because you may not have what this person has. You may not have this. Now you begin to say that's hogwash. That maybe that's not the concept. Maybe that's the reason we didn't excel or get the things that we're supposed to have. I'm just saying, right? I'm just thinking out loud. Carol said perspective is everything. Yeah. Monica said you can totally change your perspective in life. D God says I changed the channel. You get what I'm saying, right? So we can go deeper to really think about what this alien is teaching us. And it's worth noting. She also mentioned that, once again, I'm going to read this again, that the state of being a god is temporarily forgotten by pretending. She said we're pretending not to know everything, leading to self-entrapment. Imagine that, because we're playing the game, that we are playing the game to not know what we're supposed to know. And yet our gut, our intuition tells us a lot all the time. You got the gut. Some ain't right. That ain't right. That person ain't right. What I just read don't make sense. What he just said don't make sense. Some of y'all saying that about what just came out of my mouth. You get what I'm saying? But apparently, we forgot about the God in us temporarily. Why did she use the word temporarily? Because it's not absolute. Temporarily means that it's temporary. Temporarily, what you're going through is temporary. It's not absolute. You can change those things. So we should be waking up in the morning knowing that whatever situation I'm in is temporary. Even this life is temporary. Okay, this one didn't work out the way I want. I'll be back. Hopefully, I make a better choice next time to be, to is. Not I am, because I am infinite consciousness and awareness right now, living the experiences Roderick Martin, this YouTuber you're watching. That's what I am. But I should be is, and is be. You get what I'm saying? Well, all right, we got our first super chat there. Thank you. But you get what I'm saying, right? Maybe we are not understanding the temporary nature, and we're spending so much time. Now, I'm going to admit to you, and it's not a shortcoming of mine, It's just because I'm learning this more knowledge, it crossed my mind 2 days ago. I was sitting and I was like, have you got everything that you want? Are you doing? And I know it's more hard work to go forward. And this something was like, well, just check out and start over. I started laughing. Well, why would I do that? But imagine how many people took that road where life was crushing them or feeling too much. And they said, I'm just leaving, only to find out that they're coming back. And maybe their higher self want them to learn a worse lesson or maybe a more impactful lesson. I don't know. But it's worth noting, it's worth thinking about, Now, of course, I have no plans of ending early. My plan is to finish what I was getting ready to say, finish the game. I'm already programmed to say that. I'm already said it. But now I'm gonna say maybe I'm here to change this illusion. Wow, that just feels so empowering then, just to say, I'm now here to change this illusion. Would I think different? Would I read more different things? Would I look at stuff different now? There you go. Maybe that's what it is. S. Harris says you're watching it all come, and within the present, the presence, you truly are. You get what I'm saying? Maybe we look at it different. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's what it is, because we're playing games and we're pretending not to know, leading to self-improvement. Let's take that before we move on to Prison Planet. We're pretending not to know everything. We say that now. And the key to it is, when you hear somebody say they know everything, you got to take off running, because you know that they don't know everything. Not pretending, they don't know. But if you say that you don't know everything and stop pretending, then that's going to lead to self-improvement, because you got to come to the agreement, not the game of life that I don't know everything, because that's a different statement. That's a different power of just saying in agreement, I don't know everything. But to understand this, that we don't know everything, it leads to self-improvement instead of self-entrapment of pretending not to know. Because pretending not to know don't make you explore. It just makes you accept. It makes you just say, this is the way a THI is. I just made up something. All right, so we that is something for us to ponder on tonight. Secondary conversations, maybe have with your friends or whatever. But the fact that you is, okay, and you're above the body, and not that I am, is what she's saying, And go back to David Icke. He says, I am all there is. So he goes right to the is, and same thing she's saying, has been and ever can be. So she's saying that we chose to be what we are now, and that it's an illusion. So there we go. We just maybe, and like I said, I'm just throwing stuff out here, but some of it can make some sense enough for us to adjust, to use, to know, to gather, to understand, to comprehend, whatever we want to do, but to begin to not live the way we're living. Because I too, just like anywhere else, there's some things that I want to do different. There's the places I want to go. There's some people I may want to be with instead of some people that I'm with or seeing and talking to on a daily basis, that maybe if I can figure out that I is and not I am, that I can change that is in reality to be what I want it to be. I don't know. I mean, where maybe I just, whatever. You get what I'm saying? It just sounds cool. You get what I'm saying? That we could do this. Because obviously, as we go into Earth as a prison planet and the mechanisms of control was another part that we needed to learn from this. When you get this book, you get what I'm saying? And like I said, we did the discussion already, but now I'm saying these are our takeaways, the most things that stuck out that we need to think about, and how we begin to look at it that way, right off the bat. Okay. So Earth as a prison planet mechanism of control, a central revelation is that Earth has been used as a prison planet for untouchable ISBs for millions of years. Now, we'll go further in that untouchable part because I like to break down every little sentiment of what she says. But once again, a central revelation is that Earth has been used as a prison planet for untouchable ISBs for millions of years. Now, I say this to say that there's a lot of bad people on Earth, and there are people who say there are good people, but if everybody is here and our souls are trapped here, it means that we all have done something bad, maybe somewhere else, and we don't know it. Maybe we don't know it. Just maybe we don't know it. We done something bad. I don't know. However, she said the untouchables, or these untouchables, are categorized. Oh, all right. And all right. All right. Okay, so what I'm going to read next, I made this note of takeaways. And like I said, I saved the best for last to go into this. So I'm going to divide something up right quick. And then this is going to be a good discussion point for us. Earth, I'm going to go all through this. Earth has been a prison planet of ISBs for millions of years. Immortal spirit beings, which is us. These untouchables are categorized as criminals, sexual perverts, those unwilling to do productive, non-compliant free thinkers, revolutionaries. Let me make sure I'm reading that again for you right. Those untouchables are categorized as criminals, sexual perverts, those unwilling to do productive work, non-compliant free thinkers, revolutionaries, artists, painters, singers, musicians, writers, actors, intellectuals, inventors, and geniuses. They were all exiled to Earth because they were considered a threat to the old empire, meaning both good and bad things were sent here. So not that you're a singer and all that stuff that you're bad. No, that ain't what she's saying. She's saying that because you're an artist, because you're a free thinker, it is the same level as a sexual pervert in the control factor. And it makes sense. Because if you think about the leadership today, they're trying to put everybody in that same kettle. The perverts, the people, as well as you as a free thinker, the creators, the musicians, the writers, actors, they're trying to control everybody, the intellectuals, the inventors and geniuses. They're trying to put everybody in this bottle to control. And so we're put on this prison planet together, right? There is a separation between those perverted folks, but in the real world that she's saying, that is just as criminal to them as the other people. So in other words, we're thrown in that pot. And that's weird enough because you're a free thinker, you're a threat. You're a spiritual advisor, you are a threat. And if you are a revolutionary person, you're a threat. You're an artist, you're a threat. You're a painter, you're a threat. You get what I'm saying? You're a writer because you can write the script. You're an actor. All of this creativeness stuff is blocked down, which makes perfectly sense why they control Hollywood. Why you hear them say it's not what you think. It's a control. They control us. They make us say, because they know the power of that creativity, the power of those actors, singers, and musicians could change people's lives. We need to control them. And the ones who are defiant, put them on that prison planet till they learn. So think about it. We're dealing with the same stuff today. The same stuff today is the same thing. Jeremiah said, just what Roderick is saying, if you're available free thinker, they don't want that. That's the point. And she's saying that. She's saying that all of these immortal spirit beings, so all of us is put on this planet, and so are you, me, because I'm a truth seeker. that's why my spirit is here, because it's a truth seeking spirit. And wherever it comes from, they didn't want that spirit there. They didn't want me to do that. So how do I get off this place? How do I do something? You know what I'm saying? Be like, nah, I don't want the truth. And you're stuck here anyway. So it makes sense that we have to find that way to ascend or ascension. I don't know. But we need to plot an escape. Y'all right. How do we get off this planet? How do we do it? Well, obviously, like she said, it is something powerful that we're doing this. You get what I'm saying? It is a very powerful thing. You know what I'm saying? It is, yeah. I get a lot of people that ask me, am I okay? It's storming now again, but I'm not near that flood. I'm 4 hours away. We're in Dallas. And boy, that is a bad thing. It's getting worse. They're finding more and more of the people that's missing, and now it's over 100 plus. So they all the musicians, okay, so the untouchables are categorized as criminals, sexual perverts, those unwilling to do productive work, non-compliant, free thinkers, revolutionary, artists, painters, singers, musicians, writers, actors, intellectuals, inventors, and geniuses. They all was exiled to earth because they were considered a threat to the empire, societal, economic, and political caste system. The old empire, which is what we're dealing with today, society self-described as the filthy, degraded slave society of mindless. Okay, so let me back up. The old empire society itself is described as a filthy, degraded slave society of mindless tax-paying workers who practice cannibalism. You know, it's funny that she used the word cannibalism, and we already know that those same elite people practice that with these young newbie people, right? We know they do that. We know that they're doing that, right? But the alien is saying it. It's a takeaway. She's saying that the primary mechanism of maintaining this prison that we're in is the electronic force field that surrounds the earth, designed to detect and capture ISBs when they depart their dead bodies. We talked a little bit about that yesterday, but let's get a lesson from this. Because once you're captured, it's subject to a brainwashing treatment. So once again, we come back, but oftentimes we all have these feelings that, man, I've been here before, or I've seen this before, or you just know something and you know it. But she's saying that it's part of that prison that we're in, and that's a takeaway. And once captured, we're subject to all of that, and that it completely erases our memories, not just one life, but of those accumulated experiences over nearly infinite past in their identity. In other words, we forget life over all our lives, and they're doing it. And it's something to think about, man. It's something to pull your mind, to be like, whoa, you know what I'm saying? How do I bring that back? However, she also mentions that the shock, we got post-hypnotic suggestions are implanted to install false memories, a false time of orientation. The command to return to light and the idea of heaven and afterlife are part of this suggestion. How many people say that? That is deep as it can get. She's saying that we are taught wrong when we're told to return to the light, and that the idea of heaven and the afterlife are part of some hypnotic suggestion. And I said that earlier on Forbidden Knowledge, or today when I said, I began to believe that when they say heaven and hell, and then when you die, you're going to those places, then are they not telling us that we really don't die? And maybe just to control you while you're here, you're preparing for a place that you're not going to go. And it makes sense to why satanic stuff is so strong to control your soul here. Because if he can control your soul here, maybe he owns the soul when it goes to the next place. And now he got your soul and you're trapped forever. Boy, that is freaking deep to think about. We got to be really careful of what we're talking about here. Because you leave here and come back as you are, as is. So if you leave here as a trapped soul, satanic soul, maybe you're still trapped in there. So we don't want that. But we don't even want to be here. We want to get out of here, right? We want to go where we're going to go. I'm just saying. I'm just putting it out there. Just for us to think about it. She says that the afterlife is part of hypnotic suggestion to compel us to report back to Earth and inhabit new bodies, believing they have a special purpose. This ensures a continuous cycle of reincarnation and imprisonment. See, remember I told you I had 3 psychic people that says they kept saying somehow this is your last time here. I didn't understand it the first 2 times. And I'm starting to put it together. Have I done anything? I don't know. I haven't done a miraculous thing, but maybe the one life that I was supposed to impact, maybe the one thing I was supposed to say to you that changes this and changes that. Maybe I've done something. But whatever it said, is a mission complete or am I done? But this is your last time here. However, according to Airl, she says that we are given this command to return to life, return to the light, and that the idea of heaven and earth is part of this hypnotic suggestion to compel us to report back to earth and go and get you a new body and believing that you have a purpose. So how many of us walking around my purpose is, or I am, and maybe that's not even what it is. And we maybe have to look detail into our purposes to see what is it really doing. It all makes you think about a lot of stuff. Yeah, poltergeist, yeah. It makes you think about a lot of stuff. It really does. It really, really does. I mean, that's what I would say. It makes us think about a lot. It makes me think about a lot of stuff. And it's very worth noting that something is happening here. All right. So let me continue. Let's continue. The old empire also installed what they call false civilizations on Earth. This is a lesson that we need to learn because some people have built a world around what I'm about to talk about. She said that the old empire also installed false civilizations on Earth, such as those in India, Egypt, Babylon, Greece, Rome, and medieval Europe, to further reinforce the amnesia. The languages, costume, cultures of civilization were designed to prevent ISBs from remembering their original home planets. Now, this is going to go with you for a minute. Pyramids and other massive stone structures were mystery monuments. We talked about that. Hastily built props to create an illusion of eternity, insoluble mysteries, diverting attention from the truth of the imprisonment. She said the snake, the dragon, the serpent symbol is associated with the old empire to perpetuate the illusion that gods or reptilians, further reinforcing amnesia. Now, we talk about the reptilian stuff all the time. But what she's saying here is that the snake, the dragon, and serpent symbol is associated with the old control system to perpetuate the illusion that gods are reptilians, which they're not. But remember, it's there, further reinforcing amnesia, because you got to remember that the old stuff, a lot of reptilian stuff that they were saying these are the gods, which we're not saying reptilians don't exist. She didn't say that. They do. but they were supposed to be depicted as gods. Credo Mutwa, if that's what his name, said the same thing when he interviewed with David Icke about reptilians fooling people that they were gods. Remember, he said that. He said that, right? So is she confirming that? She said religious manipulations that I got from this as a learning the role of the priesthood. So what I was learning was Airl reveals that the old empire established priesthood on earth to act as prison guards, reinforcing the idea that individuals merely are biological bodies and not immoral spirit beings, and therefore denied their identity, past lives, and power. They are promoted by the concept that only gods have power. So she's saying that the theory of the gods that we have is not true. She's saying that's not true. She's saying that it's not true, that it is something else that has been done. That the manipulation of priests. So when we see the Vatican, who has Snake Hall and all this stuff, supposedly they're the priest god, they're the prison guards. Or she's saying, I'm sorry, not gods, but guards. It makes perfectly sense though when you think about it, the prison guards or guards or the priests and stuff, because that's how the church structure is set up now. Okay, it's set up that way now, reinforcing the idea that individuals are merely biological bodies, and that we are in that we're not spirit beings. They don't say that. Yeah, they talk about your soul, but spirit and souls are obviously two different walkways there. You get what I'm saying? But she's saying that we are made not to know that as our power. And then, of course, once we taken out of here, we are given the command to come back. Some people are given that command over and over. That's deep, I know. But they promoted the concept that there are gods. Then she talking about the introduction. We talked about this a little bit yesterday of hymns to the Himalayas. She's talking about 8,200 years ago by the domain, and said it was intended to teach the concept of individual immortal spirit being to influential humans. However, this truth was perverted by the old empire priest in the concept of simple, all-powerful monotheistic God. So there is a monotheistic teaching now. They've been doing that for quite some time. But if you go to some of these other cultures, they don't teach that. There's a lot of gods. But biblically, there is only one God. And the way we've been taught, monotheist, and supposedly that is not the way it should be. That's a good question, Peter. What if the alien? But it wasn't that, because they had captured this alien, and they could have seen through that. Because you remember, the alien was teaching the opposite of what was happening. We already know this system is broken. That is something we all know, without nobody telling us that. We already know that there's things in our lives that's not right. You know what I'm saying, Peter? So she's teaching more divine stuff that makes more sense against the grain, so to speak. But however, like she said, they can't tell us. Now, another part of that was she talked about their perspective, and she said that the domain considered Earth inherently unstable and unsuitable for permanent life, serving primarily as a prison. And I thought that she was saying it was a pit stop. And she said the reason for that is because we have all these unstable things. So that came in fruition this past weekend. In more reality, I'm saying. We had a storm. Yeah, let's make man in our image. So we had a storm that, flooded it, that done something never done before. It all just was the perfect thing. And she said, because of stuff like that is why they don't live here, because it can happen. Erosion, it changed the landscape down here in Texas. You know, the water washed away all this stuff. It's a whole new look from the water in that area when it should be a place of stability, right? So obviously she talked about that, and she said, and so we just witnessed that. We witnessed it with hurricanes, we witnessed it with tornadoes, we witnessed it with floods, we witnessed it with hurricanes and tsunamis and all. We know fires, and we witnessed the instability of this place, but yet we claim it beauty because there's blue water, maybe, or maybe the trees or something. She's saying this ain't nothing. And the reason I'm saying that, because when we do the book Theoba Prophecy the next 2 days, it's a totally different concept. She took the human off and showed him the rainbow of lights and beauty and how things really are. And it's going to contrast with this, but it's also going to bring things in alignment of what she's talking about while we're on this prison planet, because when we do this next book, you're going to know that we are. Maybe we are. Maybe we should see things a little different, but we're not doing that. And maybe we should. It's a possibility that we should. So it's something, like I said, worth noting right off the bat. It's something worth noting. All right, so we got less than 100 likes in here. You know what I'm saying? If anybody can take the time right now and like this video, let's get to 100 and get to 200 if we can. Let's do that. Let's see if we can do that. All right, so the other part is she also said that this is a pit stop due to its heavy gravity, dense atmosphere, natural cataclysms. We just talked about that. And then also she said that the domain has an interest in Earth because it conquered the old empire headquarters, wishes to prevent the planet's resources from being spoiled. More importantly, they had 3,000 of its own ISBEs, known as the Lost Battalion, trapped here on Earth. How many stories have we heard about that? The 4,400 or the whatever. She said there are some people that are trapped here and they're lost. And they've been trying to get them out of here. Their souls are trapped here. She mentioned that their souls are trapped here. That could be, you could be one of them. I could be one of them. We could be one of those souls that are trapped here. Yeah. It's interesting enough for her to say such a thing, that we could be the one. Another part that she talks about, which I thought was very interesting. I thought was very interesting when she said that she mentioned that Hebrew Moses, and I think we went on to a little bit, but is intercepted by the old empire operative near Mount Sinai. She said Airl specifically mentions that the Hebrew leader Moses being intercepted by the old empire operative during Mount Sinai, who is using hypnotic commands and technological tricks, tricked Moses into believing he was the one God, and Yahweh, the name Yahweh itself means anonymous, and that the operator did not want to reveal their identity of amnesia operation, that the 10 hypnotic commands, which we call the commands, delivered to Moses are still influencing millions of ISBs thousands of years later, and that the Torah, when read literally or decoded, is said to contain a great deal of false information. Whoa. Did y'all hear that one? And I'm going to read that again with a little more enthusiasm, because she said that the old empire operative near Mount Sinai who used, or let me back up, that Moses, the story of Moses is to be a true story, or maybe not, but being intercepted by the old empire, meaning the people that are in control near Mount Sinai, who was using hypnotic commands, word spells, thou should not steal. She said those are word spells. and that they used technological tricks, trick Moses into believing he was the one God, Yahweh. Now, I didn't go into the Moses story that deep, but she's saying that that was a big one. And that the name Yahweh itself mean anonymous. I know we got Cairo here, S. Harris, if y'all still listening. What do y'all think about that? Because she said the name Yahweh means anonymous. And as the operative did not want to reveal their identity or the amnesia operation. So they installed the name Yahweh. And it's really, I got a book in there on Yahweh. I need to read it. My uncle left me that when he passed away, you know. But she's saying that that whole thing is designed that we're missing a point. Right there. You remember, like she said, Peter, on the mountain, Moses asked the name, and he was told, I am and I am. So, but she's saying that the I am is bad because we are is and bees. And that's something to reflect on. What's the difference between an is and I am or is? We should be looking at that we're is bees. We are immortal spirit beings and not I am. I am is a spoken, so you become what you say you are in such a way, but it's not really the true essence of it, of this illusion. I don't know. Yeah, so you're right. Not all bad that comes here. You're correct. But if you're against the grain, you get sent here too. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think everybody kind of speaks in that direction. She said, B is current state, which I am is to become. Okay. So B is the current. So we be thinking more current state instead of to becoming. Is. You get what I'm saying? Maybe that's what it is. All right. So let me continue here. She said the 10 hypnotic commands delivered to Moses. So those 10 commandments on those freaking plaques that Moses walked back down the thing with. Remember that, right? So there was a light, boom, 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 gave him those stones. She says that those 10 commandments, hypnotic commands, meaning spells delivered to Moses are still, right today, right now, influencing millions of immortal spirit beings thousands of years later. The Torah, when read literally or decoded, is said to contain a great deal of false information. Wow. So Peter saying, so the I am is a handcuff and locks you into sedimentary or non-growth. Okay, that's what she's saying. And it's in this Rosicrucian stuff too, and it's dry. You know, there's a couple of you in here got copies of it now. But hey, you get what I'm saying. You know, 19,000 books, 3,500 ebooks, videos and 19,000 audio. There's some teaching in here you won't find nowhere on the planet. Well, it's on the planet, it's where it came from, but they're just not going to. I told y'all about it. You know, go to Amazon and you want this type of waterproof SSD with no moving parts so it won't break on you. I got 2 of these, one in my safe deposit box that I want my kids to keep forever. Not the drive, but it's what's in here, the data and what it cost us to get it. And the first investment, if you want something, you need to spend $200, $100 on this first. And if you send anything other than this, I wouldn't even put it on there for you anyway, because it's going to break down. And then, of course, you'll make a contribution to what we all did to get this information. So right there. But I promise you, nothing will be as it was ever again. You get to going in this thing. I would never finish everything in here, but I'm learning so much, finding so much. It's incredible. Anything you can think of, people, files, it's in here. So You know, if you first can afford to get your own disc, which you should, then you email me and then we'll talk about the contribution. And then you send me that. I'll copy it for you and send it out to you. You won't be disappointed. You might not even never come back here. You'll be so far into that information, you'll be like, shit. Then hopefully you start your own podcasts and shows and teachings because you're going to know some stuff. You're going to be a threat, though. I promise you, some of the stuff in here, you're going to be a threat. I just want you to know. You get in there, you're going to be a threat. They're going to see you as a threat if you speak some of the stuff that's in here. I don't speak a lot of it. I know a lot of it, but I'm telling you, if you get into this drive and you will be considered a threat. Your people around you. So you be cautious to what you say, not what you do, because you do what's right, because you're going to know you got the upper hand. But you be cautious because they're watching, they're listening. They're always, and they don't have to do it by humans now. They got a system that's listening right now. And then it gives them a report. Roderick said this last night on his show. And they can see verbatim what I said. And then they know what to do. And now they don't have to watch the system. They can sleep. That's the email address right there. contact@whythebigsecret.com. I'm telling you, it's deep. It's deep. I'm just telling you. In contrast to the Vedic hymns, become the source of nearly all Eastern religions, philosophy, Buddha, which foster kindness and compassion, eventually replacing the old empire stuff. So she's saying that we need to learn more Vedic hymns. She's saying we need to learn these hymns. And she said the source of nearly Eastern religions and philosophies, Buddha, Zora, whatever, which foster kindness and compassion, and eventually replacing their brutal ideology. She said the Laozi, Laozi, in particular, is noted as an ISBE of great wisdom and overcame amnesia, hypnosis, machinery, and escaped from Earth, recovering some of his memory and mortality. Meaning we can get away from that. We can get away from that. So we need to do that. We need to play that frequency and whatever. And again, ding, you got the bell. You know, I got sound bowls in there. Ding, dong. You somehow that ain't crazy. She's saying that it's the one of the ways. It's the entry points. Okay, maybe that's something we need to think about. We need to think about. And once again, she said, when you do that, and the person that the spirit being use it to get out of here. There was a spirit being that became into that part and used it to get away from here. And she said, somebody need to Google Laozi. And who is that? Somebody Google that right now. Laozi. So apparently, whoever person, whatever, Laozi in particular, is noted as an ISB. So whoever this person thing is, was an immortal spirit with great wisdom who overcame the amnesia hypnosis machinery and escaped from Earth, recovering some of his memory and immortality. So maybe I'm doing a good job. And maybe because I'm talking about it to you, I'm telling to you that I'm going to find a way to do that. And when these psychics tell me this is my last time here, maybe I made the discovery and I don't know it. Maybe what I'm pursuing right now, when I tell people I need to change and go through this extreme and put my life over here and separate from all these people and other stuff that is no good and draw my energy. Maybe I've learned that. Maybe my higher self is telling me it's time for you to ascend. And now you got the knowledge. Do it, man. And maybe the confirmation from the psychics who also spelt my spirit and said, I'm out of here. So now it's a realization, no more I am getting out of here, is gone. My A is out. And maybe I got to think harder, think that literally out of the body. I got to think above the body. So I'm no longer wearing this shirt talking about as above, so below. It's just as above, period. Get out of here. Forget the below. I'm not trying to be the same, even though it is. Maybe not. Maybe that's a lie. Maybe that statement is a lie. It's as above. And we're sitting here being taught as above, so below, as though as one is the same. Maybe I'm just saying. Maybe it's a contradiction. All right. Someone said he's a Chinese philosopher. Thank you, Renee. Okay. Maybe there's where it is. So maybe I'm going to look him up, see if he's in my files or something, I guess I can do that. Let me see what I got on this person. What do I have? Let me see. What is his name again? She said his name is with an L. Oh, wait. Let me go back. Maybe we need to look into that stuff. I don't know who he is though. All right, well, either way, let me continue. We'll get back to that. Yeah, that's the name there. Yeah. It says you observe both above and below. Okay. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I'm just throwing it out there, that we look at what things are. Because it's pretty, cool the way she's talking about this stuff. Now, another part of this is, let me take that down. So yeah, maybe we need to look him up and find out. Now, she said that that's something that I think was a learning experience for us was to think about that the domain seeks to locate and rekindle awareness, memory, and identity of these captured ISBs, and they're actively working to solve the problem of amnesia and hope to eventually deactivate and destroy. So she's saying that there are good people on this side that are trying to rekindle the awareness. They're trying to give us the memory. They're trying to give identity to us. Maybe that's the struggle when you begin to start awakening and you're finding out who you are, what you are. You know what I'm saying? Maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's what she's trying to say. I don't know. However, she said they're actively working to deactivate and destroy the old Empire Force screens and amnesia machinery. Airl believes that the information she provides can help humanity understand the devastating consequences of alien intervention and potentially serve as a stepping stone to a better future for mankind by helping ISB recover their memory. In other words, she's saying we need to accept when these aliens show up here who violate the principles that are not supposed to be interacting with Earthlings, but they do, and they come and they break the rules. We need to be accepting those people and saying, we're listening to you. So when they say put up those nuclear, or they put this down, don't do this, we need to consider the alternative. Maybe. Who would do it? I don't know. Maybe who would do it? You get what I'm saying? Maybe we'll do it. So as y'all know, we having a meetup July 19th. Now, this week, I am going to a place that one of our members here has she works with a group that has a nice little indoor location. I'm going to go visit that in the next 2 days. And maybe if things can work out, we may go more of an inside, and that way we can really sit down and fellowship and chill and talk some conspiracies or just whatever we want to talk in an air-conditioned environment. Because it's hot in Texas, baby. But we're going to be at Keith's Park for now. But regardless, we're going to be, but I'm going to check that out. If not, we'll meet there, August the 19th, this coming Saturday, next Saturday, coming 9 days from now, countdown, 10 days or whatever. We're going to meet each other in person here in Dallas. And you can contact at whythebigsecret.com. Put your email address there. Screenshot this. Email me your number if you ain't on the list. And so, like I said, I'm going to go meet, and I'll call those people this week. And then if it's better suited and economically, then I'm sure they'll work some out with us, and, you know, and we'll do an indoor event. Still got places for little kids to play. I think it's a little playground outside or something there, but still indoors. And then I'll take some pictures and show y'all a little bit where we're going to be. If we're going to do that, either or both, you know. So we're going to do it. We're going to sit down and chill. Y'all going to ask me what you want. I might even bring my little laptop with some of my files and open them up and be like, what? Some of you didn't even know. Show you some stuff. Yeah. Show you some stuff. You never know. Yeah, Renee, you should live near us, okay? 2,000 miles away, that's a long way. But if you practice out of body, you can get here. So she says that they have a trap battalion of people. We talk about the people that 300. She said 3,000. We talk about the Anunnaki. Remember the story? The Anunnaki said they left some people here. They've been looking for them. She said there's 3,000 of their ISBs is here. So yes, the book. And in fact, there's 2 books that I want you guys to know, okay? So I tell you what, I'm going to go grab them because it's worth denoting. So I'm going to put some on the screen here so that you can screenshot, and then I'm going to go grab the books or whatever. Well, anyway, this is Lady G. She got the little necklace. I'll be right back. Y'all can look at her luminous and her beautiful face. All right, so maybe you want to get your own necklace there. All right, so listen. You know, somebody put something on the screen that prompted me to go get this book because he talks about, let me scroll back. There you go. Peter put it up there talking about low toss. And this is kind of weird, right? Or whatever his name is. He has a book called The Ta Te Ching. Listen, this is what I've been reading. You see how the universe works? This is so powerful. And it teaches you some stuff. Now, this is the book I was telling y'all about, photo reading. I found this on eBay. It teaches you how to teach your mind to photo read. You can flip through and read hundreds of pages real fast. And so I'm studying this stuff. And of course, this is a powerful book, The Art of True Healing. It's all about the mind. But this one, this Tai Chi, we're going to talk about this in a few seconds. I'm going to read some of this stuff to you. Let me finish because we're at the last part of this, of the ISB stuff, or the learning. We got one paragraph left. So she said that they're actively working on solving the problem of amnesia. She believes this information could help us and be a stepping stone. She said the old empire engineer and his wife, who are also untouchables on Earth, that ISBs can recover their amnesia and regain their lost abilities in significant breakthrough for the domain. The research has also revealed that our ISBs can inhabit and operate more than one body at the same time. This is what threw me for, and I put this for last. She is saying that our souls And I can't say if we ever felt that, or maybe that's a soul connection that you have with someone you think you're really in love with, and you really in love yourself, where you be like, man, it's almost like I'm with me and myself. Think about this, because this is where we're going to end this part on. She said that an ISB can inhabit and operate more than one body at the same time, a capability previously thought unique in the domain office. This has enabled some members of the Lost Battalion, including Matilda, to partially resume their duties for the domain with biological bodies or sleeping. So it's almost like when we are asleep, think about it. So she's saying that when we're sleeping, and I'm just assuming that when we astral project, that it's possible that we are in another body. We can go somewhere else while this one is asleep. Wow. You get what I'm saying? That's incredible to end that particular part on. And the main weapon against it is to control the communication of truth and open discussion, which ISB remember who they are and they came from, allow them their own release and rescue. That is big. So think about it. When we leave this body and astral project, you can probably be going somewhere else. That's how you feel probably when you're dreaming, you're somewhere else. And maybe another timeline or maybe another reality, and we're inhabiting another body at the same time. Maybe. I'm just throwing it out there. I'm not trying to say it's absolute. I'm not trying to be the person that's saying it's absolute. I'm not saying that. All right, so let's get into a little bit of this Tai Chi Ching. So let you know the power of this. This has, if I can live by some of this stuff, it is incredible. And I think we could. Now, the beginning of it says that the Tao that can be told is not internal Tao, that the name cannot be named, and the name is not the internal name. Okay, so I'm going to skip that for a minute. But I'm just going to turn to a page, and it's going to tell you the Tao, or if I'm pronouncing it right. It says the Tao doesn't take sides. It gives birth to both good and evil. The master doesn't take sides. She welcomes, and he speaks in the feminine when he writes all of it. The master doesn't take sides. She welcomes both saints and sinners. The Tao is like bellows. It is empty yet infinite capable. The more you use it, the more it produces. The more you talk of it, the less you understand it. Hold on the center. I thought that was pretty powerful. She said the Tao is called the Great Mother, empty yet inexhaustible. It gives birth to infinite worlds. It's also the presence within you, and you can use it any way you want. It's got all of these things in here. It's really deep. And so let's go back to the definition of the Tao, so we know when I say that. I think it has a definition. And it's saying that the master is available to all people. So once again, the Tao that can be told, it's not eternal Tao. The name cannot be named. It's not eternal name. The unnameable is the eternal real, name in its origin of all particular things. Free from desire, you realize the mystery, caught in desire, and you only see the manifestations. Yet misery and manifestations arise from the same source. He's saying that your misery and manifestations comes from the same source. This source is called darkness. Darkness within darkness is the gateway to all understanding. What do they tell us? Don't look into the darkness, stay in the light or whatever. But he says it all comes from darkness. Yet the mystery and manifestation arise from the same source, and that this source is called darkness, and darkness within darkness. And in the Bible said, let there be light. Maybe let there be something in the word, but the gateway to all understanding is what it's saying. Let's just turn to another one, just random, just to read something. Listen to this. This is a life lesson. It's a lot of them in here. Listen to the life lesson. It said, true perfection seems imperfect, yet it is perfectly itself. True fulfillment seems empty, yet it is fully present. True straightness seems crooked. True wisdom seems foolish. True art seems artless. The master allows things to happen. She shapes events as they come. She steps out of their way and let the tile speak for itself. Check this out. She said, what's important? Fame or integrity? Which is more important? Money or happiness? Which is more valuable? Success or failure? Which is more destructive? Ooh, she finna give us the answer. Y'all want to we need an answer to this. Okay? We might just do a whole show and teach from this stuff, right? So we can you get what I'm saying? Now, so let me read this to you. I'm going to start over because this is profound. I'm glad I turned to this. It says fame or integrity, which is more important? Is the question. Do you rather have fame or you want integrity? You want money or happiness? Which is more valuable, she says. So I'm going to ask y'all those questions and then we'll go into this. So what do y'all think? Fame or integrity? Which is more important? Somebody put in here fame or integrity, one word, or we can do number 1 for fame, number 2 for integrity. Let's get some involvement here. Okay? We're talking about some Tai Chi here. So fame or integrity, 1 or 2. Fame is 1, integrity is 2, or you can use the word. Which is more important to you? All right, Dr. Strange said integrity. Come on, I need more of y'all involved. Integrity, Renee. 2 is integrity. Integrity, don't sell your soul. Okay, 2. Everybody saying integrity. Come on, keep it coming. Give me a few more. Fame or integrity, which is more important? Not what she just said. I'm not reading that. I got to see one at a time. Come on, Jesse, get involved. Come on, talk to me. Say something. All right, so 2. All right, so I'm going to read y'all the next one. Money or happiness, which is more valuable? So let's just go with the word so I'll know now. Money or happiness, which is more valuable? Put the word money or happiness, which is more valuable? Money or happiness? Let's go with the words. So now that we got 3 more, we'll be messing with the numbers. No more numbers unless you're listening to us old. Money or happiness? Money or happiness? Let's write the word happiness. Okay. Happy. All right. Happiness. All right. Money or happiness? Which is more valuable? Happiness, of course. Come on. Keep it coming. Keep it coming. Happiness. Keep it coming. All right. We got a happiness run on happiness right now. Happiness with all them stars. Bunch of happiness. But happiness is internal. And come on. Money or happiness? You're late. Who is that? Angela. We're on a new one. All right, money or happiness? Come on, you're there. All right, so the next one. Let's go with the next one. Success or failure? Which one is more destructive? Success or failure? Which one is more destructive? Okay. Success or failure? Which one is more destructive? We need success or failure. Just give me an answer. Success. Come on, no more numbers because we already got numbers. So I don't know if you answered the first question. So just go ahead and give me a name. All right. Success or failures? Which is more destructive? Somebody says failure. Someone says success. Carol says success. Someone says failure. Success. All right. Y'all still doing 1s and 2. Maybe y'all late or something, but either way. All right. So now let's go with, so now I'm going to talk about tricky. All right. Neither you need. All right. So I'm going to read as an entirety now. Okay. So that you get some understanding. Let's read the entirety. I'm going to start over. Fame or integrity, which is more important? Money or happiness, which is more important or more valuable? Success or failure, which is more destructive? She says, if you look to others for fulfillment, you will never truly be fulfilled. If your happiness depends on money, you will never be happy with yourself. Be content with what you have, rejoice in the way things are, and when you realize there is nothing lacking, the whole world belongs to you. There you go. That's the lesson of that one. Yeah. That is the lesson of that one. Another thing she says that the gentlest things in the world overcomes the hardest thing in the world. That which has no substance enters where there is no space. This shows the value of non-action, teaching without words, performing without actions. That's the master's way. That's very interesting. The gentlest thing in the world is overcoming the hardest things in the world. And that which has no substance enter where there is no substance. And then this shows that value of non-action, teaching without words, performing without actions. That's the master's way. How do you teach without words? How do you perform without actions? Pretty interesting though, right? Pretty interesting. So she said, she, meaning our feminine sides, she who centers in the Tao can go where she wishes without danger. She perceives the universe harmony even amid great pain because she found peace in her heart. Music or the smell of good cooking may make people stop and enjoy, but the words that point to Tao seems monotonous without flavor. When you look for it, there is nothing to see. When you listen for it, there is nothing to hear. When you use it, it's inexhaustible. That is like a huge riddle. When you look for it, there's nothing to see. When you listen for it, there's nothing to hear. But when you use it, it's inexhaustible. Whoo, that's deep. That's deep. Now, here's something else that's deep. This is deep right here. Listen to this one, number 33. It's like 80 of them in here. So number 33, I should have given y'all the numbers. The number 33 of the Tao is knowing others' intelligence and knowing yourself is true wisdom. Mastering others is strength. Mastering yourself is true power. Ooh, that's deep, and I'm going to keep going. If you realize that you have enough, you are truly rich. If you stay in the center and embrace death with your whole heart, you will endure forever. Wow. Knowing others is intelligence. Knowing yourself is true wisdom. Mastering others is strength, but mastering yourself is true power. If you realize that you have enough, you are really rich. If you stay in the center and embrace death with your whole heart, you will endure forever. All right, this is deep here, number 32. Number 32 says, the Tao can't be perceived. It's smaller than an electron. It contains unaccountable galaxies. If powerful men and women could remain centered in the Tao, all things would be in harmony. The world will become a paradise. All people will be at peace, and the law will be written in their hearts. When you have names and forms, know that they are provisional. When you have institutions, know where they function and should end. Knowing when to stop, you can avoid any danger. All things end in the Tao. All rivers flow into the sea. Okay, I don't get that one, but I get it. Now, number 31 is deep. I'm going to read this one. This is really deep. Number 31. Weapons are tools of violence. All decent men detest them. Oh, okay. Decent. Oh, okay. Oh, well, that was boo. Messed that one up. Weapons are the tools of violence. All decent men detest them. Weapons are the tools of fear. A decent man would avoid them, except in the direct necessity, and if compelled, will use them only when the utmost restraint. Peace is the highest value. If the peace has been shattered, how can he become content? His enemies are not demons, but beings like himself. If he doesn't wish them personally harm, nor does he rejoice in victory, how could he be rejoiced in victory and delight in the slaughter of men? He enters a battle gravely with sorrow and with great compassion as if he were attending a funeral. He's saying if you get ready to go into a battle with somebody, you have to go into it like you're gonna with a heart like a funeral, because you know you're finna destroy somebody. You know when you open your mouth that you finna hurt your loved one's feelings, or your boyfriend or your husband or your wife, and break them down or hurt them. And you should, if you approach it like a funeral, then you won't do it to them because you will feel the pain. That is deep. You will know the pain. Remember Powder said, I wanted him to feel the pain. That was the whole lesson. You want to feel the pain of that dying animal that you just shot. You remember that in the movie Powder? So she's saying that, the Tao is saying that right now, that if you enter into hurting someone else, that if you go into it like a funeral, then you might not do it because you're going to feel the pain. Now, this one right here is deep, and we'll do a couple more before we get out of here. But he says in number 24, he who stands on tiptoe doesn't stand firm. He who rushes ahead doesn't go far. He who tries to shine dims his own light. He defines himself can't know who he really is. He who has power over others can't empower himself. He who clings to his work will create nothing that he endures. If you want to accord with the tide, just do your job and then let it go. That's deep. That's deep. All right, I'm going to read one more. I'm going to read one more. All right, how many likes we got? Let me look and see. $132 likes. Come on, man. We could have 200 likes right about now. We can have a lot of likes right now. A lot. Okay. So, all right. So let's read this one. There was something formless and perfect before the universe was born. It is serene and it's empty. Yeah, this is a great one to end on tonight. This is a great one. There was something formless and perfect before the universe was born. It is serene, empty, solitary, unchanging, infinite, eternally present. It is the mother of the universe. For the lack of a better name, it's called the Tao. It flows through all things, inside and out, and it returns to the origin of all things. The Tao is great. The universe is great. Earth is great. Man is great. These are the four great powers. Man follows the earth. Earth follows the universe follows the Tao, and the Tao follows only itself. That just tingled me inside, just reading that. I'm gonna read this whole thing again. I think it's a great way to end, and maybe we do more of these on another show. But there's something formless and perfect, is what it's saying. And before the universe was even here, was born. It is serene, it's empty, solitary, unchanging, it's infinite, and it's eternally present. It is the mother of the universe. For the lack of better name, it is called the Tao. It flows through all things, inside and outside, and returns to the origin of all things. The Tao is great. The universe is great. Earth is great. Man is great. These are the four great powers. But you want to remember that man follows the earth. The earth follows the universe. The universe follows the Tao, and the Tao follows only itself. Man, that is beautiful. That is beautiful. Oh, all right. I'm going to read one more. I got to read this one. It's real short. It says, not knowing is true knowledge. Presuming to know is the disease. You remember I always tell people assumption is the mother of all F up. You remember I tell y'all that all the time? But listen, she says, not knowing is true knowledge. Presuming is to know is a disease. First realize that you're sick, and then you can move on to health. The master is her own physician. She has healed herself of all knowing. Thus, she is truly whole. What do y'all think the meaning of that? Not knowing is true knowledge. Presuming to know is a disease. First, you need to realize that you're sick because you think you know everything. And then you can move on toward health. The master is her own physician, meaning you fix yourself. And she has healed herself of all knowing. Thus, she is truly whole. A lot of great ones talk about that. If you go through the world, that the more you know, the more you don't know is the remedy of getting better. You get what I'm saying? That's the remedy of getting better. Interesting. But anyway, this is a great book. And just to know we was talking about it, we have it in our arsenal and all of that stuff. All right, so it is it's offering time in the sanctuary. I always wanted to say that. I'm not a pastor though, right? It's offering times in the sanctuary. Okay. And but anyway, if you found any value tonight, and you know this is a community funded show, and you want to if you want to support the show, there's a Cash App there on the bottom of the screen, and I'll put it right here in the chat, or maybe I think Maya could do it. She's still here. If you can put the Cash App in the chat, there you go. Appreciate it. It's right there as well up on the screen. You know, if you found any value in tonight's show, and whatever that is to you, then show your support. I'll give you a shout out and be most appreciative, because we are a community funded show. We're not big enough yet, but in time, if you all share and we get bigger, then we can let the YouTube ad money pay for what we do, like some of the bigger creators do. That's, you work for that. It's a long game, but we can work for that. But there are a lot of you do support. You buy merchandise. Maybe you can go to the store, Truth versus Authority, whatever .store, and you can find value in what we do. And then your time is valuable too. You just being here is currency as well. You know that. And so definitely I want you to do that. All right. So our next book we're going to probably do is the Theology of Prophecy. We probably started tomorrow. And I got a few others. I thought about doing some Jordan Maxwell book stuff. These right here. I don't know if y'all want to do this, but the old time religion. It takes us a little bit away from the aliens though, but it all connected. This is Jordan Maxwell stuff is some deep stuff. Both of these are some deep books. I've read them both. And one of them would take you for a ride. It's got a moral symbolism and things in it. We can do that, or like I said, we'll go through whatever. And if you're in our inner club, you got all this stuff in here, man. Everything is in here. Yeah. So, but I think we'll get into the Theology of Prophecy starting tomorrow. So I'll put a copy of it in the Patreon tonight, so y'all can get started on it. So y'all can get to start, just at least get the first few chapters in, and you'll be like, boom, you're gonna like it. So I'll make sure I load it up tonight in the Patreon so that y'all can download it. And then I know not the author, but the person who's helped marketing it. I've talked to him. He's been on my show last year or a year and a half ago. So I'm gonna try to reach him. And maybe Friday or Thursday we do something, or next Monday as we're going through it, we have him on the show and get him to talk. And he's going to say some stuff to you that is very powerful from that. All right, let's give a shout out to D for your support. All right, right. Thank you for your support tonight. And like I said, this is, again, it's a community funded show. And I say that without remorse. I said it with let's give a shout out to Daniel. Thank you. So we had two D's. I called the first one out, but I didn't call your name. I didn't know if you want to be said. We have a shout out to SA, Miss. Thank you for your support. Yeah. And thank you for the love and all hearts back, I will put. And yeah, and everything. I mean, if you all again, you know, it's what I do, is what we do. You know, we try to keep going, and fortunate for me that, you know, I'm a man that is handling things by myself, right? And maybe if I had the responsibility of family and kids and, you know, whatever, I probably would have to work and to be like, okay, I'll be here next week or whatever. But although I have a purpose from the TVs and different things I do, the book is being published now, all of the stuff, but being a creator and working on what I'm doing is very exciting. It really is. It's like truly exciting. And to be able to talk with people. So imagine right now that you got 10 people in front of you. Imagine a room with 100 people. Imagine a room with 200. Or when I look at the views, you know, some I do on Forbidden Knowledge, 100,000, a million views. Or here, you know, we haven't got there yet, but we will, thousands of views. You imagine a room of 2,000 people listening. You want to do right by yourself. You want to educate yourself. You want to, or I do want to make sure I understand what I'm saying. I do want to get better. I ain't perfect. I do open up criticism from our community, but active criticism, love. Some of y'all give me true love in the process of learning. Hey, you want to say it like this. You want to do it like this. I don't interpret it being harm. Now I do know I got haters, and they exist. I do know that. And they pretty much exist. That is not something that, you know, that to be ignored. You know, haters are out there, you know, when it comes down to this. What books are you showing tonight? Well, the first one was Alien Interview. And then this one I got from Amazon too is the New English version, but it's the Tao Te Ching by Stephen Mitchell. It's a real good, simple read. It's got all the Tao, if I'm pronouncing it right, but each one a number, and it's a teaching. If you just go by this every day and consume this, I think it'll be really good. Yeah. Oh, man, I just opened up to this one, and maybe this goes for being an influence of learning. I got to read this one to y'all. It says, do you want to improve the world? It says, I don't think it can be done. You know how people saying, I want to do this? The world is sacred. It can't be improved. If you tamper with it, you'll ruin it. If you treat it like an object, you'll lose it. There is a time for being ahead, a time for being behind, a time for being in motion, a time for being at rest, a time for being vigorous, a time for being exhausted, a time for being safe, a time for being in danger. The master sees things as they are without trying to control them. She lets them go their own way and resides at the center of the circle. Dang, that is powerful. We need that to be our weekly motto this week, so that we're not out there overstressing ourselves trying to save everybody with the Mother Teresa syndrome, right? It says, do you want to improve the world? And most people are like, yeah, I do. I want to improve the world. I want to make it a better place. I want to make it, imagine. But she's saying that I don't think you can. It can't be done. The Thai said it can't be done. The world is sacred. It can't be improved. If you tamper with it, you're going to ruin it. We already see that happening. If you treat it like an object, you're going to lose it. She says that there is a time for being ahead in life, or being ahead. I'm not going to use the word life because she didn't say that. There's a time for being behind. There's a time for being in motion. There's a time to being rest. There's a time for being vigorous. There's a time being exhausted. There's a time for being safe, and there's a time for being in danger. The master sees things as they are without trying to control them. So imagine You know how to say, be still and know that I'm God, right? Imagine when you're trying to be in motion when you need to rest. Imagine when you're trying to, imagine sometime when I'm trying to work, I got to learn this, I got to learn this. But lately I've been learning to take my time, just let it happen. You know? And when you're in danger, you know you're in some danger. There's a time for that. So don't create it, you know, because remember, we got this creativity. It's deep. The title, I don't know if you can see that. It's Tao. Well, Dr. Strange, if you can't see it, I'm going to text you right now. I'm going to send you a picture. Hold on. So you have it. Let me know when you get this. Let me know. All right. All right, let me know. Check your text. And let me know you got it. All right, then, because you probably can't see this from here and all that. But anyway, like I said, if you find value tonight, and for those who've already given, I want to thank you for that. We're going to get ready to get out of here. Again, I want to thank you. Okay, you got it. All right. So, yeah, that's a great book. And it really is. It's a real good book. Good, quick read. It's not even a read. It's just learning these sayings and stuff. So it's worth noting that it's really good. It's really good. All right, y'all. So I will see y'all tomorrow at 8 o'clock. We're going to be right here. I think we will start the Theoprophecy book. So I will put it up in the back end, like I said, and then you all can kind of do that. We got almost 150 likes. That's cool. Maybe we can get more. Appreciate it. Again, thank you all for your contributions and stuff. And of course, share, watch the videos that we can get more views, and share comments after the video. I know a lot of y'all comment during, but if you can go back and comment when the video is over, that helps the algorithm as well, and all that stuff, and it'll make stuff go better. Okay. All right. So again, to my haters, if you're here, you're hating on me. All I can say, I love you, and I love you and everything else. In fact, there was a comment 2 days ago, guy put it on, he went out. He said, when you tell your stories, you get off point. You blah, blah, blah. You need to just stay with it, brother. You need to do this. And here's the point. The dude commented 4 times on 4 different videos. Is he a hater? I don't think he's a hater. He's just a fan, but he's critical. So that's why I still got love for him, because he watched 4 different videos to comment bad stuff to me. And he watched them. And he meticulously looked for things that I said or did wrong. And he wanted his mission to point it out to me. He loves me. He really loved me. He must have. To go through that extreme, to point out all of my efficiencies, to tell me all the things I'm not doing, and that he must love me. And he don't even know it. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you. Because you unearthed some things maybe I wasn't looking at, or I didn't get an opportunity to see. Because I do listen. So I thank you for all of that. Much love to you. He's a fan. He's not, he's not a hater. He's just a fan. He's just critical. I get it. He wants to see me do better. And I understand that. All right. So with that being said, I'll see y'all tomorrow at 8 o'clock. All right. Let's bring a crowd. Let's get bigger. We're going to work this thing. And let's do it. At Roderick Stevens, I just put a name of the book in the chat. What name did you put? What do they tell you? Numerology, troll. Oh yeah, trolls. I'm with you on that, K. University. I know, right? He's cool. Yeah, he likes me, man. It's cool. I get it. I'm cool with him. You know, we cool brothers, and we would do that. All right, I'm just reading chat. All right, y'all. Yeah, it's raining like crazy here tonight. So, all right, we'll see y'all tomorrow at 8 o'clock. We'll be here tomorrow. All right.
Why did Ruby shoot Oswald? Was there a conspiracy?
In a world shrouded in darkness and obscured by deception from the big secret keepers, a burning question ignites in the hearts and minds of truth seekers. Why? Let's dive into the abyss of the unknown. Challenge the limits of our understanding.
This bizarre sequence of double killings raised great questions. Who actually fired the shots that killed Kennedy?
Pierce the veil of secrecy.
Cattle found dead and the manner of their deaths are a real mystery.
Anyone who is concerned about lead in the drinking water in Flint.
And venture into the realm of conspiracies and extraterrestrial evidence.
A huge explosion now, raining debris on all of us. We better get out of the way.
Let us consider the question, why the big secret?